Throughout 13 years and 8 films, Jason, the hockey-masked killer of the Friday the 13th films, has hacked his way into the hearts and other body parts of audiences.
What's up, motherfuckers? It's Friday, and not just any Friday. It's Friday the 13th, and today is his birthday. What's up, bitches? Welcome to Bananalaser. My name is Matt, Wazell if you're nasty, and with me, as always, is the guy guaranteed to eat the pot, even if he was pregnant, Dave Z. What the hell is up, Dave Z?
No, bitches, his first name ain't Baby. But this is Big Dave, and it's time to get those lazy bones out of bed. It's Black Cat Day in Crystal Lake, motherfuckers.
That's right. That's right. It's our, it's Friday the 13th, and we do a fucking horror podcast, and we love Friday the 13th, the movie franchise, so why not do a show about it? Fucking A.
Fuck yes. I've been waiting to do the show since the first time I spoke into a fucking podcast mic.
Yeah. Which was like a month ago. Shit. We're newbies at this fucking shit.
Yes, we are. And this is appropriate that it's not show 13. That would have been really cool. But it's still a milestone because it's show number 10. So it's a big fucking deal. We made it to fucking double digits, buddy.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah, we should just go out with this show. Like, that's it.
That's retire on top.
Boom. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep, so this is our Friday the 13th show, and this is going to be our unholy trinity of Friday the 13th. And I know, we've done Unholy Trinity before with some other stuff. This time we're going to do it a little different. We're going to use it as a venue to really talk about each one of these movies, but we're going to break them down into eras. And which eras are our favorites? The top 3 eras of Friday the 13th.
Terra in your era.
Yeah, that's right. That is right. And there's essentially 12 movies with the remake. So that breaks down easily into 1 through 4, 5 through 8, and then 9X Freddy vs. Jason and the remake. So those would be our eras that we basically rank in this Unholy Trinity for the Voorhees special Unholy Trinity. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's start with the guys that are pulling up the rear, the eras that is ranked number 3. And I don't think Dave and I are going to argue about any of these rankings whatsoever.
Nope.
But that would easily have to be the New Line era of films. 9X, Freddy vs. Jason, and the remake.
No doubt.
Don't you think, Dave? Yeah, absolutely.
Of course. Oh, yeah, yeah. And the thing is, they're definitely number 3, but we still enjoy them. That's for damn.
Oh yeah, there's still some gems in there, but let's start with the fucking big stinker. Way to start the show off. Great. With part 9, or wait, it's not even called part 9. It's called Friday the 13th. Jason Goes to Hell.
The final Friday.
Oh, is that what it is?
Wah wah wah.
Kane assures us that this is indeed the last Jason film. He says you can tell by the film's title.
He has a specific goal he must reach before the end of the movie or end up in hell. And we know what happens, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
The second time final has been used in the series, and neither were final.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, one is a great movie, and one is an absolute turd.
Correct.
Can we agree on that?
Polar opposites, yes.
And I don't have much to say about Jason Goes to Hell, except that it's terrible. And not only for the fact that it doesn't really have Jason in it, because there's another movie, on the list that doesn't have Jason in it, really, that I,
True.
that I like much better than this. It's just that this movie goes so far out of the realm of what has been set up with every single other installment in the series, and just shits upon everything else with the whole worm, soul transferring bodies and shit like that.
What the fuck were they
Terrible.
thinking?
Terrible.
Really? And people know New Line acquired. This is the first thing they put out. New Line, they acquired the rights from Paramount, who fucking, let's face it, were basically embarrassed by the franchise. As much success as they gave them, they really shit on the franchise towards the end. And New Line, of course, wanted it for one reason, well, two reasons, but one main reason, and that's to set up a Freddy vs. Jason, which everybody had been clamoring about for fucking years and years. And they had to get it, they acquired it, they had the rights. So the one thing they did correct with Jason was the marketing. After they got the rights to that, they started putting out T-shirts and figures, and that's the only thing they really handled correctly was the Friday the 13th merchandise. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Friday the 13th, the coloring book. Friday the 13th, the breakfast cereal. Friday the 13th, the flamethrower.
And you better believe I had it all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if there's a Friday the 13th, I used to fucking say, if you want to get a gift for me, just go on eBay, type in Friday the 13th, and anything that's there, get me. Get me a fucking keychain, a deck of cards, a fucking pencil, a pencil sharpener, a figure. I don't give a fuck. But that's the one thing New Line did, is they freaking took that. They knew they had a cash cow. They took the Friday the 13th name and the Jason Voorhees name, and they marketed it fucking perfectly. When Paramount didn't do shit. They really dropped the ball there, and they just didn't give a fuck, and shame on them. But shame on New Line for making this movie, because
terrible,
right? They had the movie, and they were just biding time for Freddy vs. Jason, and they put this out, and some fucking asshole wrote it, and some asshole directed it, and some asshole fucking greenlighted it, right?
This thing is so atrocious, from the story to the characters to the fucking mythology, that it just fucking, throws out the fucking window and says, "Oh, let's start explaining, why Jason is the way he is." You don't need to explain shit. I mean, you haven't done it for 8 movies. We're not wanting to know anything. We just want to see him show up, do his thing, and that's it. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. And you know what? The interesting thing is the way it began. It actually, you could have believed this was decent until they blew him up. But, the opening scene was the only fucking redeeming thing at all.
Yeah, it's actually not bad, because it's classic style of movie.
Yes.
And then they immediately blow him up, and it's saying, "Hey, this ain't your fucking granddad's Friday the 13th." What the fuck?
Right.
But I mean, Jason is not in this movie, but I am kind of glad he isn't, because they changed the look of him. I hate the look of him, and he's all hairy, and his skin is all bubbly. It's like, what the what has he been doing? He looks like the Toxic Avenger.
You're right.
Straight up.
I hear you. And the hair, they were the first ones that brought the hair back. He'd been bald for years. They brought in the hair. I was like, what the fuck, really?
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't even devote much talk to this movie, because we hate this movie. It makes no sense. I actually know people. One of my best friends, who's a huge Friday fan, actually has admiration for this movie. I think it's mostly nostalgia, and every time I ask him, he's like, "Oh, I kind of like that one." I'm like, "Why? Why do you like this one?" He's like, "Well, I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's got the Necronomicon in it. It's got the dagger from the Evil Dead,
Right. What the fuck?
Whatever. It's got the Duke character. What the fuck?
Oh, man.
Get the fuck out of here."
Fuck Creighton Duke. Fuck that whole scenario. And fuck the whole turning it into Halloween and everything. From a Voorhees, they shall die. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, just terrible, terrible storyline. And this is... I own the entire franchise on DVD or Blu-ray, and this is the only one, not the only one. I don't own 2, because there's 2 that I just dismiss altogether, and this is one of them. So, I mean, I don't know what else you have to say about this piece of shit, but I don't really want to devote too much podcasting time.
No, I hear you.
And waste
I agree.
Our listeners, precious time on this fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Because seriously, we are going to own it on Blu-ray come next week. That's just it. We're going to have it when the fucking box set comes out. And
well, you might.
Nothing you can do about that.
Are you buying that? I'm not. I don't think I'm buying that.
I didn't think I was going to, but I think I might change my mind now because I honestly, for the final chapter, they took them down off Netflix. They were on Netflix streaming. They put them up like a month ago, and it was high def for fucking all of them. Like, oh, this is great. They took them right down because I had to watch a couple the other day because I don't own. I sold my box set, so I didn't have some, that were here. So all I had was 1, 2, and 3 on Blu-ray. And believe it or not, I have this DVD, Jason Goes to Hell. I don't know how and why.
For shame, sir.
I know, right? I probably bought it for a fucking $1.
Yeah.
And I have it, and it was the unrated cut, so at the time I bought it. But anyway, I'm going to sell this. I think I have it listed on Amazon, and nobody's bit. But whatever. Fuck it.
Of course.
I probably will buy the series when the price drops because it's Blu-ray and I'll have a wait and see approach. I'm not going to buy it day one. It's not like Crystal Lake Memories, which hopefully the day the show comes out we have the fucking discs in our possession and the Blu-rays for that because that's way too exciting.
Oh yeah, can't wait for that. I'm setting aside
right?
almost 2 days just to watch all that shit.
Exactly. But
okay.
For this movie, I don't think we can even have a fucking banana peel, a banana split, or fucking anything. The only thing I can say involving a banana is that I'm going to give it a fucking rating with a banana in it. This is going to be the lowest fucking rating possible. On a 0 to 5, it's below. I'm giving this fucking movie a black, stinking, fucking mushy banana. That's my official rating of this movie.
Yep. And I agree with you, sir. I can't even rate this movie because it goes so low off the chart that it doesn't even exist on the rating scale. This movie is that bad. So.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, let's move right along to the next movie that they put out, and that is Jason X.
In the year 2455.
I've heard it's polarizing, I think. Some people really love this movie, and some people kind of dismiss it. And I am definitely in the latter in that scenario. I am not a fan of Jason X. It has some fun elements in it. It's got a couple of really great kills, but overall, it's just too sci-fi channel-y, for me, and it just doesn't hold my interest. I mean, the body count is so huge that I literally get bored. I'm just like, oh yeah, he just killed somebody. Oh, he just killed 5 more people. It's like, nah. I mean, there's nothing unique about it. There's like 2 unique kills, and that's it. And I don't like the look of Jason. I think it's even worse than Jason Goes to Hell. I do not like the look of Uber Jason or whatever he's called.
Agreed.
I don't like it at all.
Everybody loves it. I never liked it.
Yeah. No, I've never. I mean, I think this might have been the first Friday movie I saw in the theater.
Oh,
and wow. Yeah, exactly. I know you've seen almost all of them, you lucky son of a bitch.
From fucking final chapter on. Every one and on opening night. Yes.
Yep, that's awesome. But this one was the first one I saw, and I left just thinking, okay, this is the kind of stuff they're doing now, and I just, not a fan, and it's got some interesting stuff in it, as I'm sure you could agree. The face smash is pretty cool. I think everybody agrees with that, right?
The face smash is fucking outstanding. Yes. And there's pretty good kills in the movie in general, minus the CGI effects that were used on some. But there's pretty decent kills in this. And there's good and bad in this, I think.
I've tried to sit down and watch this. Well, I mean, it's not on Netflix now, but I've tried, and I don't own it. This is the second one that I don't own. I own everything else. But I've tried to sit down and watch this because I hear people, talk about their admiration for it, and it's fun, it delivers on so many levels and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give this another chance. This is my 3rd or 4th chance. And fuck, I'm just like, after like an hour, I'm like, I'm bored, and I'm just like, I'm just not into it. I'm looking on my phone and shit like that. I don't do that for any other Friday movie in the franchise. I mean, 9 I just won't watch whatsoever.
Right, of course.
But,
right.
but yeah, it just doesn't hold my interest. I don't like any of the characters. You know, I don't know. I get it's the curse of going to space. I don't know. I did like Hellraiser 4, but that went to space. But I don't know.
Oh, you prefer Hellraiser 4 to Jason X then?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not even a fan of the Hellraiser series, but I like 4 because it had multiple storylines and
right.
whatever. You know,
right.
we're not talking about that. So
right. Just curious to know because
yeah.
I never liked the idea of space, and when this came out, I didn't like most people. I didn't like the idea. I heard, okay, well, Jason's going to space. I'm like, what the fuck? No, you know, what's next?
They should have called it like Jason Jason fights the Martians. You know, something that fucking like Santa Claus fights the Martians and shit like that. That's what they should have called it.
But I'll tell you, I probably like it more than you because I think, like I said, there's good and there's bad in it. I think I went to the opening night, like always, you know, kind of knowing what to expect. So I know going into it, it's going to take place in space. And, you know, I'm probably not going to enjoy it. But when I left that theater, I felt better than I had in a long time after leaving the theater. After sitting through fucking 7 and 8 and 9 and then seeing this, what I liked about this was that it really is a fun popcorn flick. And yes, it didn't take itself seriously like those other movies did. So there was a little bit of humor, but it was done right.
Yeah, the campiness isn't so cranked up like in part 6.
Right, it's not. It's done right, and I had fun with the movie.
Yeah,
you know. And when I left the theater, I remember saying, you know, we were talking about it, and I went with my buddy who I'd seen probably 70% of them in the movies, and we both agreed, you know what, that wasn't bad. It was better than the last couple of Jasons we saw, and you know, he agreed, and you know, it was kind of a good blend of the way they set it up wasn't bad. Like the past and the future wasn't too bad because you know it was far in the future, but you didn't want to see people walking around acting like robots and talking a different language and shit. That would have been really a real big turnoff, you know.
Right,
so they still humanized the people, even though it was in the future. They still acted like 20th century people.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
they had the token fucking, you know, stoner type, you know, that dude, and it was okay. The chicks were hot.
This ship was on a field trip. Like the future is amazing. You fucking take a field trip to Earth, the scorched Earth or whatever. But I did like some moments in this movie, and they're actually moments that would probably easily go in a top 5 of moments in the entire franchise. And one is where they put him in that simulator, and it's got the 2 girls, and it's going, they're like, you want to smoke some pot? I mean, that is fucking great.
It is great.
Oh God.
The atmosphere is tremendous. I wish they would have made, because they had the ability. As soon as it went to that scene in that simulation, you hear the music old school again. It looked really nice.
And,
it was clean.
And I was like yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I want. This is what I want to see. Yeah, do that, instead of this fucking spaceship bullshit.
Right, but that just goes to show you they could have. They could have fucking made a movie, and that's that's something regrettable about the movie is they could have just made a simple Friday the 13th movie that takes place at a camp again. It would have been nice. And that scene, it's funny and it's cool and it's a nice little throwback, but it's also a tease. You're like, man, why can't it just be this again?
Yeah, exactly. And, I understand. There's fucking 9 other of these films, and it's like, hey, let's try and do something different. I get that, but it just didn't work for me. It worked for some people, and I'm happy for them, but for me, it just didn't work.
Yeah, there was. Did you like the opening sequence? Because I think it's great.
Nah, not really.
No? Really? I really liked it. The way it started and the fucking massacre he had and how he was there and the kid put the bag on his head and they came back in and he had fucking gotten out and he whacked everybody. David Cronenberg takes a javelin to his body.
I do like seeing Cronenberg get killed.
That was cool.
Because I'm a fan of him and his movies. And it's kind of a head scratcher. It's like, what he agreed to be in Jason X. I don't fucking understand that whatsoever. Does he love the fucking series?
Maybe, why not?
I don't know. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, he's a brilliant filmmaker, so I do like seeing him get killed. That's another one of those moments I like in this movie. But overall, it leaves me cold. So
I'm back and forth. I don't like the regeneration idea. How it's a big deal he can regenerate, and how the gunshots don't affect him at all. They're plugging him with fucking machine guns. They took that and they took it too far. Yeah, we know the guy, he comes back to life and he's zombified now or what have you. But they really took it to the extreme about him being able to come back from anything. That was pretty cheesy, and it's really shitty towards the end. The last half an hour kind of drags. And for me, I don't like movies when there's too many people being fucking tormented by one killer and they're all together. That doesn't do anything. I like a Friday the 13th, a classic, where they all go down and then at the end you have one person running. That's what I like, and that's scary to me, right? Yeah, it's not scary when you have 5 people. That's why Saw 2 failed. That's a whole other story. But I just don't like situations where there's too many people at once being tormented by the same person. It just isn't as scary. Like if put you in a room with 5 people and there's a killer. Yeah, he's badass and he's Jason Voorhees and everything else, but it isn't as scary as being the final person being chased.
Yeah, because you can push one of them towards him to get away. Fuck.
That's true. You could sacrifice.
I love you, man, but I gotta get out of here.
That's true. There's shit you can do, but I will say this: they had a new take on the music. It was still Harry Manfredini, and I like the way it sounded. That's another positive in it. Yeah, it was a good update. You could tell it was bits from the original score from the original films, and they were kind of updated, but it was done right. But it did, that's another plus. And the chicks, that's a plus. It's probably the hottest crop of all of them.
Yeah,
it was tough.
Nobody really stuck out to me. I don't really remember.
Really?
Anybody's like,
there was hot chicks. It was tough to pick the fucking banana. First, I said it was Janessa because I liked her because she looked good. She kind of reminds you of Rose McGowan. And I liked her attitude. She was spunky and she was a bad girl and she was fucking sexy and flirtatious and sleeping with the fucking professor and doing that. I liked her. And then they had the girl, she was just straight hot. That blonde girl, Adrian, the girl with the famous face smash scene, which was...
Yeah, she's cute.
Yeah, she was. But I think Rowan is the fucking hottest one. The girl that freezes in the beginning and then comes back later, and she's the only girl from the past. If you just straight up look at her, she's very hot.
She's definitely the hottest one. Yeah, yep. I do remember her.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's the banana where, you agree on that. That's the banana. Yeah. Looks like the peel.
Peel that banana. Yep.
And
one thing that pissed me off when I watched this movie is that the ending seemed like it was going to a place where that I wanted to see. It's like, okay, he's falling to Earth 2, and he's going to there's another Camp Crystal Lake essentially. It's like, yeah, okay, let's see some stuff there and see Uber Jason, even though I don't like him, do the stuff on a camp,
Right.
But then, that's where it ends. And so, fuck you. That really just leaves me so disappointed at the end.
We got teased twice. We got teased with the simulation, and we got teased with the ending. Because you're thinking when the first movie ends, maybe the next sequel is going to pick up where that left off.
And that,
could have.
And that could be cool. I mean, I don't like Uber Jason, but...
Correct, but the mask came off.
If he's in the right setting, it could be cool. So whatever.
I think you and I are completely in the minority on that. Everyone seemed to love fucking Uber Jason and the mask and all that shit, and I never, since the first night I saw it, I did not like it a bit.
No, I don't like the. I don't like the eyes. I just don't like any of it. All of a sudden, and he gets a new machete, and it's. I do kind of think the machete looks cool, but it's like, why did they give him a new machete? It just makes no sense. Whatever.
Pete, what the fuck? Producer Pete!
Shut that fucking dog up. Jesus
what
Christ.
The fuck?
What are we paying him for? Holy shit.
I don't know, because he can eat a fucking ton of bananas and only fucking 49 cents a pound. That's what we're paying him for. He's fucking cheap labor.
Yeah. So if we were to rate the Jason X, I would give it a 2. I don't hate this movie, but I don't like it, and that's why I haven't bought it. I don't like to sit down and watch it on repeat viewings. It's got stuff that I like, and I've talked about that, but overall, it's not really the Friday movie that I want to sit down and watch.
Yeah, I understand that. I'll give it a little higher ranking. I'll give it a 2.5. It's right in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things I like about it. There's some things I don't like about it. But overall, like, it's a fun popcorn flick. And, you know, there's some good and there's some bad. But
yeah,
I had the most fun seeing that than I have at that time had in years going to see Jason on the big screen. So it kind of, you know, that stuck with me a little bit. But 2.5 was where I stand with it.
All right. Well, that's admirable. Let's move on to the next one. That is...
Hey, asshole! Up here!
Freddy versus Jason. We waited so many years to see this movie.
What the fuck? Right?
And I'm glad it finally got made, and I'll just say it right now. I'm a huge fan of Freddy versus Jason. I think this is one of the funnest movies to sit down and watch. This was my go-to drunk movie. You know, if I'm coming home wasted, it's like, let's watch something, you know, fucking Freddy versus Jason. It's just so fun. It's fast-paced. It fucking blends both of their mythologies perfectly into a story that, you know, as best as they can, you know, makes sense. And I'm not even a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan, as I've said before, but I think it's a great matchup. It's a great throwback to classic, you know, Universal monster mashups, and it's fun, and they get the tone of it exactly right. The only thing that I really knocked this movie for, and it makes sense in the realm of the movie because you need that balance of the two enemies, is that Jason is far weaker in this movie. They play him as more senseless and like a retard, you know. But so that element, it pulls the movie down a little bit for me, but it makes sense in the context of the movie. If he was the exact same Jason from you know, any of the other ones, it just wouldn't make sense. He needs to be a little weaker than Freddy for him to be controlling him at the beginning of the movie, you know. So,
but it's only psychologically.
Right, exactly. No,
he's so badass. He kicks the fucking ass. That rave scene alone.
Oh man,
right?
Wow. Dude, I love it. He's tearing through those assholes.
Yes,
I fucking love it. And I'm also glad that the look of Jason, I think, is back to where it should be. I've heard people say they don't like this look, but after Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X, you know, they finally, you know, went back to the more classic kind of look. And, you know, some people are Kane Hodder purists. You know, I like Kane Hodder. He does a great job. But putting whatever that guy, Ken, putting him playing Jason, and he's just such a tall, massive dude, towering over Freddy, Robert Englund. It looks great. It looks way better. If they had Kane Hodder, they would be like face to face, I think, and it just wouldn't have the same kind of feel to it. Because this, to me, is like an epic fucking thing. I mean, we've been waiting years for this ever since they teased it in that shitty Part 9.
Right. Even before that, it was discussed for fucking years, Freddy and Jason. Originally, Friday the 7th was supposed to be that, and then they decided to go with the Tina thing instead, because they couldn't work it out, you know, with legalities and whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't know. I think if they made it then, I mean, it's kind of at the slasher craze was really just sort of, you know, heading down. That it was on its downslope, really. And I don't think I would have liked the movie as much if it was made back then, you know, when they made Part 7. I don't know. Maybe I would. Maybe I wouldn't. Who knows? I think Freddy would have been way too campy and silly. He would have been way more silly. You know, they make him scary again, you know, in Freddy versus Jason. I think if they made it back then, he would have been way more jokey, and the movie would have been way more silly.
See, now, I don't know. This is where I'm going to have to disagree.
Yeah?
I'm not positive on the year that Part 7 came out, Friday the New Blood.
I think it was 88.
I'm thinking it's 88 too, which
Yeah.
I want to say is about the time of Nightmare on Elm Street 4. So that is when it really got campy. This is true. And I say, and that I'll say that, and I'm actually surprised that you like it as much as you do, because with the whole thing about the Elm Street thing, because to me that's the big turnoff. It's Freddy and his fucking mouth and the comedy, and it was way he was dark for the first 5 minutes, and after that he delivered probably. It was the worst fucking delivery of lines for Freddy Krueger in any of his movies. He sounded
awful.
Oh, that too. Yeah, that's ridiculous. But everything a lot of shit came out of his mouth that just sounded so. The delivery of it was very bad. And Robert Englund, he's been doing it for so long, but he was really a fucking mockery of himself in this movie.
Yeah.
It took it way too long. There's one line. It's another one that stands out to me when he goes, "Not my arm." Oh, fucking, he sounds like fucking Yosemite Sam or something. Fucking Yosemite Freddy fucking versus Jason. It was fucking that pinball shit, right?
Yeah, I did not like that part at all.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
way too much comedy. And way too much shit that didn't make sense. But I will agree on the Jason thing. And I do like Hodder. But Jason looked pretty good. It's the best Jason's looked in a while in this movie. It was old school looking. Absolutely. Everything that you said about Jason's appearance, I will fucking agree with you on that. There's no question.
They got his look right, and he had to be a big guy, for it to look right in the movie. And I don't know. I'm not a Nightmare fan really whatsoever, and so I guess that's why I just kind of overlook all those little moments with Freddy and stuff like that. And this is lots of people say Friday 6 is like the fun, campy style of Friday movie, but I think this one really is. It's kind of movie where they put Jason in like a fun movie instead of just a chase kind of slasher, and maybe that's why I have so much fun with it and stuff. But who knows? I mean, there is stuff in here I don't like. The caterpillar Freddy. I think most of it has to do with Freddy. You're absolutely right. I think all the stuff I don't like definitely has to do with Freddy. But I overlook it because I just have so much fun with it. I like seeing them battle at the end. They have like 2 to 3 fights, where each of them has the upper hand in a certain instance, and I think that's exciting at the end, So
I agree with the end.
It's got tons of great kills in this. I mean, when you start at the bat with the fucking the guy and getting closed in the bed, like that is fucking awesome, dude.
That is great. Yes.
Yeah, and you're right. The rave scene when he's tearing through him, that is brilliant.
Oh, it is. That's a really good scene. That's a great sequence. I actually like the way it begins too. I like the thing with Freddy in the beginning with the narration. I don't like how he continued it through the film. I thought it was just, I don't know, I didn't like it. But I like the beginning, how we talked about, the history and everything else, and then Jason's mother comes. And that is the only scary part of that movie, when they show that first girl running, and all of a sudden it goes silent, and there's like fog, and you hear that big footstep.
Yeah, they had the thud. It's
and
like
then you see
Godzilla.
Jason.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's scary because then you just see him standing there. That is the only 3 fucking seconds of that film that's scary. But I like it for that. I like the beginning, and it's that little chase in the intro is cool. It starts off not bad, and the first kill is good with the kid in the bed, and that situation not bad. But then it slowly starts to lose me. And I love the final scene, the final battle when they're both in Crystal Lake, and it's man against man with the weapons. It's bloody. It's fucking sick. There's a couple clever things that happen in the battle. It's badass. But the other battles that they do, it's just Freddy fucking joking around, and the things that happen, it takes me out of it. The battles I'm not into.
So when Jason is asleep or knocked out or whatever, and they have the dream battle. Yeah, that one gets a little goofy, but I still like it.
You know what? I remember being a kid and people talking about Freddy and Jason. And me, personally, I'm never a fan of versus movies. Never have been. Don't like the idea. Never. A lot of people love them. What would happen if this person fought this person? People love posing those questions. Me, and I'll admit I'm a horror geek. I'll admit that.
That's funny because we do the Terror Dome on almost every show where we put two icons together and have them battle it out. And you're revelating right now that you don't like that.
Well, no, this is different what we do because that's two people that nobody gives a fuck about. And it's,
that's true.
And we break it down and it's reality. It's like, okay, put these two guys in the dome and let's see what we can come up with. But when someone says, it's just like that conversation in Stand By Me. When the one kid looks at the other and goes, who would win in a fight between Mighty Mouse and Superman? It's just ridiculous. It would never happen. It's fucking stupid. And not to offend anybody, because I know a lot of people like this movie and versus movies. But I've never, ever been a fan of the versus idea. And let's have this guy fight this guy. I've never been into the idea. But even as a kid, when this idea was talked about, I was the first guy to say, well, hold on. First of all, this can never happen because Jason doesn't sleep. If you're going to have a fucking thing with Freddy and Jason, it's a bad idea because Jason doesn't sleep. And how are they going to make him sleep? And yeah, they did come up with something. They had to come up with something. So they got these scriptwriters together. And I guess they did the best they could. But there's just... These kids, they piece everything together way too fucking quick.
That's true. Yeah.
Right from the start. It's just... way too much. I mean, it's like between Freddy's narration on what he's doing to feed us, and then that shit to feed us, it's just like rushed and poorly fucking made. Good ideas. The idea of Freddy vs. Jason I can live with, but it's like, who am I to say what you could have done besides this movie? I don't know, but I just don't think the end product is what it should have been. It's just. There was just too much shit and too much fucking comedy. How about the fact that Elm Street is right next to Crystal Lake? It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, that's one gimme that I had to let them do, because isn't fucking the Friday movies, isn't that like they take place in New Jersey, and we all know that Springwood is in Illinois, and and Jason just walks there. What?
Yeah, see, it just there was too many things. It was just I wish I liked it more. When I saw it at the movies, though, I had fun with it. And I liked the fact that people were sympathetic with Jason, and they kind of made him into the good guy, which was great because I'm rooting for Jason regardless.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That was great, and the way it ended, in my opinion, Jason's the winner, which was cool because it's New Line. You think they're going to be so Freddy. But Freddy really punks him most of the movie. So I could see how it goes both ways. I do like the thing when they show Jason as a kid, and him getting teased in the freak show segment, and they push him in the thing, and it's actually kind of heart-wrenching when the girl is reaching for him. Jason Voorhees, and she's trying to get him. I understand that you don't like that they kind of weakened him, but they kind of had to in a way. I mean,
they definitely had. I mean, if they didn't, then it really wouldn't work.
And it's completely mindless. Two big guys fighting, or not big, but whatever. If it would have been Michael Myers and Jason, now that could happen.
Now that...
Why not?
I mean...
They're real. They're two dudes walking around that kill people. They could beat up.
They would never make that because neither of them talk. And...
You're right, Freddie.
They got to have somebody with a voice. Otherwise, I mean, they just can't do it. I just don't see that working. Then you would have even more of these characters who are just thrown in, like the characters in this movie are just thrown in the middle and have to like piece it all together. You would have way more exposition from them because neither of them talk. Yeah,
you're correct. Because we were spoon fed things with Freddy, and we had to be, and I understand that, but it was just, it was too much forced upon. They figured everything out way too fucking quick, like you're dealing with fucking Encyclopedia Brown or something. It was just, It was way even, it was just they figured everything out, and they would never ever happen.
Yeah.
And I understand it's a fun horror movie, and you're not supposed to fucking be too serious into it, but I just can't get into it. But how about the awards? What do you think?
Well, I mean, Catherine Isabel. Hello. Yeah.
That's your girl, huh? No shit.
Oh, well, I'm a much bigger fan of brunettes over blondes.
So am I.
Yeah.
But she's my number 3. How about that?
What? Oh, you take Kelly Rowland?
I would take Kelly Rowland, but when all is said and done, and I hate to say it considering everything that's happened
recently.
Right? But facts are facts. You watch that movie, she is the hottest chick in the movie, in my opinion. Lori's the banana that I'd like to peel. But
wow.
But still, I mean, yeah, I think most people would agree with that. But I do like Kelly Rowland, and she kind of fucking
is terrible.
I did like that one scene when she was talking when she was dreaming, when Lori was dreaming in the thing, and they bring him in there, and she goes, "The virgin." They were having that conversation, and then she goes, "Why would he want you when he can fuck somebody like me?" And I was like, "Ooh, man, that was fucking hot."
You saved that for the spank bank, you son of a bitch.
If I would have been 10 years younger, I probably would have. Right.
and the what do we call it? The slip of the banana, the kill. Is that what it is? I don't even know my own show.
Yeah, right. The banana splits the kill, and I say
the banana split. You say what?
Freeberg. He gets chopped right the fucking half. It's great.
Oh yeah. See, I got to go with the Kelly Rowland kill just because it's kind of funny. Because she's trying to tease Freddy, and he sees it. He sees everything, and I mean, it's not that the situation is what I like because I don't like her in the movie. And it's funny, because
right. He points to her, and Jason's right behind her.
Exactly, yeah. So that's definitely the banana split for me.
I thought for sure you were gonna go with the first scene because it does start off with a bang with that first scene. Jason's fucking hardcore, and he's thrusting the machete repeatedly,
tearing that dude up, and
it's a great start.
And he fucking deserves it because that dude is
a
prick.
Yeah, what a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you twice. Yeah, he's fucking.
Oh my god,
babe. Oh, it's fucking funny, man. It's funny, but he's an asshole,
Yeah, what a dick. So, ratings: Freddy versus Jason. I don't want to go too high, although I do love this movie. I'll go 4. I really like this movie.
Shit.
I think it's a lot of fun. But at the same time, it's still in a different realm. This to me is the best. We're breaking it down into eras, and it's definitely. Oh fuck! I can't necessarily say that either.
I was thinking that.
Jesus Christ! It's tough because they're especially in the later years, they get they're so different. Like this one. Shit, I don't know. Yeah, I'm still say 4. I really like it. I mean, I can't deny that. I really like this movie.
There you go. Well, me, I'm only saying 2.5. Once again, there's some things I like. There's some things I don't. Freddy's fucking comedy was way too over the top. He was a real big turnoff in the movie, and it could have been better. I wish they would have done more with the ideas, but there's just too many things I can't fucking suspend when I'm watching it. I get too turned off. The idea was fun, but it just ultimately. The finished product just didn't, it's one of those movies for me that gets worse with each viewing too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So,
and I haven't seen this in like 5 years, but I can see that. Maybe if I just watched it tomorrow or today or whatever, it'll probably go down a little bit. But anyways, let's move on to the next one in this era, and that is Friday the 13th.
You got perfect nipple placement, baby.
Yes,
remake,
sir.
yeah. So lots of people. Man, I tell you what, when this came out, I was pumped for it because I thought it looked awesome. I think it's a Platinum Dunes movie. In fact, it has the same director as the Texas Chainsaw remake, and I like that
and
too.
It shows.
So, it looks very, very similar, and. Yeah, they do different stuff with this movie. But to me, I like what they did with Jason in this flick. They make him more aggressive, more sensible. You know, they make him human again, you know, which I really enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, he's not a zombie. He's not slow. He's not able to transport, you know, like in Part 8 and shit like that. So this movie, I enjoy it. I think a lot of the characters, they're, you know, love them or hate them, but, you know, they're you know, there's some stupid ones. There's ones that you hate. There's some really, really hot chicks in this. And I think, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most people don't like this movie because of what they did to Jason and the kind of peeking behind the curtain that they did to him. And they showed him in a different light. Do you think so?
I don't know. I would say that this movie is the way it's received is like a lot of the remakes. A lot of people really like it. A lot of people really don't like it.
Yeah.
Some get hated on more than others. That's for sure. But this is one of those that's kind of along with a few other ones where, you know, it's right in the middle. But
yeah,
I don't know if that's the reason why they don't like it. The peek behind the curtain. I just think that a lot of purists just don't like modern horror, and it's going to be really hard to impress them with, you know, modern American horror. Just, you know, and a remake of something they love, they're just not into it. It just doesn't do it for them.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what the reason is. You know?
Who knows? I mean, I really like this movie. The updated version of it. I like how they don't waste time with. You know, they just kind of, they know it's a Jason movie, so they skip over, you know, they retell pretty much the exact same story in the beginning, but they just skip over the whole Alice and Mrs. Voorhees fight and that whole era. I kind of like that. And
I like what they did.
Yeah.
You liked what they did in the beginning?
You mean how they just started off with her beheading Mrs. Voorhees?
That whole sequence with her and Mrs. Voorhees and the girl, and then Jason coming out at the end and seeing it. Do you like that? Because I happen to think it's great.
No, I love it because it really shows what we all think, what we all thought this whole time watching the earlier movies. It's like, okay, well, was Jason alive that whole time? Did he really die? You know, and then it's like, oh no, he saw his mom get killed, and then that's when it, you know, triggered, and he's like, I must, you know, exact revenge on all these people who killed my mom, essentially. And I love the opening, and then I love the opening.
Agreed.
That's like 20 minutes long. That great. Might be the best part of the movie.
It is,
in my opinion. You know, there is the 4 kids, or I think it's 4, and yeah, you think they're the main characters. And that fucking floored me, because I thought, okay, these are the main characters. This is it. This is the movie. And then he kills them all. You know, it takes like 20 minutes, and then boom, that's when the title comes up. And at that point, this movie fucking had me, dude. I was so on board at that point. Loved it.
Agreed. It was great, and I wish they would have saved that for the end. In a way, if they could have done it, because it goes downhill from there. But it's great.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't reach that high again. No.
Yeah, but it's a great intro with the mother, and like we just discussed. That's cool. You know, I may not be crazy about the delivery of some of Mrs. Voorhees' lines, but whatever. I'm not going to really nitpick on it. I was happy with that, and then this part was fucking great, and everything about it was great. It had the best probably gore of the movie. It had great setups. Jason was fucking badass. That's when you first see how badass he's going to be in this movie. And he has the sack, even though the sack isn't, you know, what we wanted. It's still, to me, it was still better than the hockey mask. It's a little more intimidating to me.
Yeah, it's definitely because there's just a sense of like, you know, because anybody would put on a hockey mask for whatever, you know.
Right.
It's something that normal people wear, you know, obviously just hockey players, but yes, does somebody put a sack on their head? It's just so like frightening. And I love the sackhead Jason in this because it goes along with his personality. You know, he's like a he's like a hunter. You know, it explains a little bit more. He's like a hunter, and he knows how to live off the land and all this stuff. It makes sense because in the other movies, it doesn't really explain how he lived for so many years out in the middle of nowhere without running into people, or how did he eat, you know, and all that shit.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. I'm not crazy about the tunnels, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I do like that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of dug the tunnels because, you know, they made him super fast and super aggressive in this movie, and that's I really enjoyed that aspect of him because he's never been this aggressive. You've seen him run and stuff like that, but I mean, he is a beast in my opinion, and the tunnels kind of explain that. He's able to zip, you know, from one place to another. But what were those tunnels? I mean,
that's just it.
Did he make them? Were they already there? I didn't get that part.
That's just it. It asks us to fill in the blanks too much with the tunnels and how he has the bell, and when they go on the thing, the bell rings and he knows somebody's there. It's just, it would be too hard. Like, that's basically the flaws of this movie.
Yeah.
That you could never get away with that, and that could never happen. You know, it was too fantastical with that and the fact that, you know, there's a bus overturned and there's cars there, and, you know, they have police there and nobody, and, you know, there's been missing people there. They never fucking stumbled upon these things. That's the problem. It was a little too much for me. You know?
Okay, well, speaking of missing people, do you like the fact that he kidnapped the girl from the beginning? Well,
I don't mind it. I can understand it. It looked like his mother.
Yeah,
it's kind of a throwback. It's kind of a throwback to part 2 in a way. You know that you know you know, I mean, they play up to it. She kind of looks like you. He says when they find the thing, and, you know, and then she puts the locket on, so then she sees him. I don't mind that. You know, I know some people think they're not into it, but that never bothered me. Just the tunnels themselves bothered me. I do like the fact that they kind of explained how he was able to keep things going, because he was stealing the kerosene from that guy and he was doing what he had to do.
Yeah, and that kind of stuff is what I mean about peeking behind the curtain. You know, you get a little more sense. He's a little more fleshed out. You know,
right?
You get a sense of how he's been living this entire time, as opposed to, like, you know, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy part 2, but it's like, you know, you just don't. I mean, you see a shack, but that's about it. It's like, how is this guy living out here? I don't, you know, I don't get that. But so.
And yes, he still has a shack in this one, which is weird because it's completely unnecessary that he would have that. Why wouldn't he just bring all that shit, his old bed and his archery trophies and the stuff with his mother and all the other shit that he had? Why wouldn't he just bring it down in the tunnel with him where he's hanging out? Because it looks comfy in that fucking tunnel. It's nice. It's lit up. It's fucking. You think he'd be warm. There's a lot of room. You know, it was a little too much like Texas Chainsaw 2. That's what it always reminded me of since the first time I saw it.
Oh, yeah, I get that, but fuck, I mean, Chainsaw 2, that's just so overboard with it. It's
overboard, but still
bright lights and shit. Yeah.
Well, right, yeah, they're drawing more attention to themselves, and that. Yeah, sure, but just I could see a family doing it, like in part 2, and it being organized, but just one guy digging. I mean, if he had to dig all those tunnels, forget about it. And to hook it up where he has bells and everything else, and it's like he's a fucking, who is he? A fucking someone that went to fucking, you know, is he an architect? How smart could he be?
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
To hook that up, he would have to be a fucking borderline genius.
Yeah.
And we know he's not. I mean, shit. He's not too bright, obviously. But he is badass in this movie. There's good shit. The beginning is great. And I remember when I went to see the movies, it was their opening day with my father, of all people. And I flew home. I was living in Vegas at the time, and I flew home for 4 days. And I just stayed with my dad. Didn't tell anybody. I was escaping for a couple days. I checked out. And I fucking came out here, and I went to see the movie that day, February 13th, and went in the afternoon, like a 2 o'clock show. It was me and my father. And we watched this thing, and I'll never forget it, how exciting it was in the beginning and the first 20 minutes with the kids.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when Jason's coming at him, That thing with the bear trap, I think, is fucking outstanding. When he traps the kid and then he comes in the girl with the sleeping bag, that whole sequence is great, isn't it?
That's the banana split for me right there. It's kind of a combination, but yeah.
Agreed. Yes, thank you.
And it shows, it shows his intelligence, which I like,
right?
Because, you know, he's a mongoloid, but that doesn't mean he's fucking just totally retarded, you know.
He's smart in part 2.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Which is, you know, which is the realm of when this opening part is taking place, you know, the sackhead Jason and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's gory, looks good. The bear trap, and then the trap with the, I don't like the sleeping bag thing was a cool idea. It's a little far fetched because I don't think someone could die that way. I just think, the fire would burn the sleeping bag open and she would drop, and it would be I don't think that would kill somebody. Mm-hmm. But whatever, that happens in slashers. You see things all the times that you don't think, there's going to be a killing thing. Mm-hmm. But for a modern movie, it was a little bit. Usually nowadays with modern slashers, you don't have to suspend your your thoughts that much. Usually when you see something, it's something that's more believable. That was more like
that's true.
It was more like an 80s thing, but still, I'm not going to nitpick on it. But that was cool, and I agree with you. That was a banana split, and it was one of a few combination kills in this movie, But it was great because it was gory as fuck. When he's trapped in that freaking bear trap, that looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? And then when Jason runs and he's chasing the girl and he puts the machete through his head, a little CGI, unfortunately, but still it was cool.
Oh no, I thought all the effects looked great in this movie. There was nothing that really took me out of it effects wise. So
no, it could have done without CGI, and I'll most of the time I'll say that. But whatever, it looked good. But I remember after that scene ended, getting back to that because it was very exciting. And then it went black, and then you hear the and at the Friday the 13th, the new logo comes on the screen. Everybody in the fucking audience fucking started applauding.
Exactly.
Yes, it was one of those situations, like and I've like I said, I've been to every one of them since 4. So it was the most fun. It was a good pop in the audience, and I hadn't seen that in a long time in a Friday the 13th film. Back in the day, they happened, But that I'll never forget that. Everybody was like on the same page. People that were going in the afternoon were probably the diehards because it was like a Friday afternoon and whatever. And everybody was pleased right off the bat with that. But, sadly, it drops from there. But doesn't drop too far. Too far.
I don't think so, because I like a lot of these characters they introduce in the second half of the movie, and because it's a good mix of characters, and some of them you just really hate, and some of them are annoyingly funny, and some are just funny, and the chicks are all the chicks are smoking hot.
Yeah, let me go back and say that I was completely wrong when I said that Jason X had the best crop, because clearly...
it's this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the chick with the perfect nipple placement, I don't even know her fucking name. But
her name is Bree.
She is the banana to peel.
Agreed. Again, yes, 100%.
and that asshole dude who's cheating on his girlfriend or whatever is totally right. That perfect nipple placement.
Oh man, she is fucking smoking. And I usually prefer brunettes, but the 2 brunettes in this movie definitely take a backseat to the 2 blondes. The 2 blondes are hotter. And Brie, holy fuck, that one scene when she's dancing and freaking they're sitting there, the Asian kid and the black kid, and they're sitting there watching, and that song's playing, and she's fucking doing her thing. Holy fuck, and they're admiring her, and I'm just sitting there admiring with them, like I'm
right along with
in the middle of them. Yeah,
exactly.
Just like, holy fuck, that chick is hot. And then when we see her get naked and get into that fucking, which is kind of uncomfortable, especially for me when I'm sitting there watching it with my fucking father. The first time I saw it, right? It is a little uncomfortable. The beginning part when they're talking that shit, I'm gonna fuck you and that girl in the beginning. You know what I'm talking about. You take off
absolutely.
To get in the tent. That's a little bit of a, not just for me, but I've heard that said before, that there's forced nudity and forced sex and things like that. It wasn't necessary, but woo-wee.
I thought it all blended perfectly. I had no problem with any of the nudity. I mean, I thought it all made sense, and the drug use. There's a lot of pot use and stuff like that, but I kind of missed that from some of the later sequels to Friday. it reminded me more of parts 1, 2, and 3. You know, they had a lot of that.
You're right.
Or a scene set aside just for pot, you know, or something.
Yeah, of course they did. But the sex, there was actually, you know, you would see nudity and people screwing around a little bit and, you know, a little bit here and there. But that scene with fucking Bree and the other, in the beginning, the girl, he's fucking slamming her doggy style in the tent. We never saw shit like that in fucking, that was borderline fucking Skinamax fucking softcore porn shit that they were doing in that movie. It was a little too, not that I'm complaining, there's nothing wrong with seeing hot chicks naked doing their thing, whatever. But for a rated R movie, for a horror movie, it just seemed a little forced, a little bit out of place, and I could definitely see it being uncomfortable in certain situations.
Yeah.
No other ones have been. Can you think of another modern horror movie that's been that way? Because I cannot.
No.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I would say maybe I Spit on Your Grave remake, but that's entirely different.
Yeah.
You know?
but you know what? I'm glad they got away with that because it was just as vicious as the original. But that's another story. But I'm glad they did it that way because that's a whole other situation. But yeah,
let me ask you this: did you like how they took down Jason at the end? Because I loved it. I mean, it looked great. It was nice and gory, I just don't know whether if they were ever to make a sequel. I hope they do. I just don't know where they would take him from there because he is clearly dead, right?
Well, yeah, but he's not. We had the jump scene at the end.
Oh yeah, fuck! I totally forgot about that.
The
Holy
obligatory
shit.
Fucking hatchet Friday the 13th fucking jump scene in the final fucking seconds that everybody knew was going to happen, but we still applauded when it did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right? Yes. Yeah, because he got the whole wood chipper scene, which was okay. Right. It was cool.
I thought it was very cool because you never, I mean, even in part 4, when he's apparently getting chopped to pieces, you don't see any of that. And so this one, you actually see his head being torn off, you know, in the back and stuff like that, and I really enjoyed that. Yeah,
you're right. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
The gore part, the gore aspect is escaping me at the moment. It's been a little too long since I've seen that part. But, yeah, that was good. Like most of it, there was good gore in it. And it's going back to what you said about the characters, I did like the characters. You hated some. Some were cool, some were bad. For the first time in a while, I cared about a character when he died. And it was the last character I thought I would. Not the last, but I really thought that the Asian kid, Chewie, right off the bat, was fucking annoying as fuck. I didn't like him at all. But something happened. When he started wanting to hook it up with fucking Bree, and he failed, and that thing happened, then when he went into that thing, I found myself, when Jason finally did get him, and all that rigmarole, and he made the joke, and it didn't bother me. It was a humor, but it fit in. It wasn't over the top. I liked it. When he got killed, I genuinely felt bad for him, and that hasn't happened in a long time watching a Friday the 13th movie. So
yeah. No, I thought all the characters were really good in this. And I thought that kid was hilarious. I mean, yeah, he was borderline annoying a lot of the times, but I thought he was great. It kind of needed this mix of strange characters, even though it doesn't really make sense that all of them necessarily hang out together.
No, it's Token City. Now they have Token and everything now. Token Black, Token Asian. Fuck, I'm surprised there wasn't a Latino there too. You know.
Oh shit.
I mean, they're out of control with the tokens these days, and that's so cliche for those type because that's, you know, you would see that back in the day. There was always a Token Black, and it's the joke about it, and he's gonna get killed and everything else, and he really plays it up in that movie, which is kind of funny. That he brings it up a couple times, you know. I think they intended for that, you know. They wanted
absolutely.
Yeah, they made it a little bit humorous, you know. That okay, I'm the Token Black guy, and because he was the same guy in the other movie too, not another teen movie or whatever the fuck it was, whichever one that was. Remember they had a Token Black and he got killed and fucking, or he was making token jokes.
Yeah, but that wasn't the same actor though, right?
I thought it was.
I don't think so.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm confusing this movie with another one, but I thought it was for some reason. I got to look that up.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, yeah. But I'll tell you, Trent played a good asshole. I thought the one Clay was okay. You felt bad for him and his sister in that situation. But I don't know. I really wasn't 100% into his character. I don't know why. I just didn't. He was okay. I don't know. I don't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But the one line was funny though when fucking they come back and all hell's breaking loose, and freaking Trey says, "You've been off with this guy for 8 hours in the woods, fucking." He says. I always thought that's hysterical.
Yeah.
You know, that he thought she ran off with him when they were all fucking all over the woods and all this shit, and, you know. But Trey, he gets the best fucking. He's the banana split, by the way. Back to him.
He's the arrow in the head, right?
Did I say Trey? Pardon me, Trey. What am I fucking talking about? Fish? Trent. His name is Trent.
Right.
No. Trent's the fucking asshole. The boy.
Oh yeah.
The way he gets killed is fucking. He gets a combination kill, and I changed my pick. I changed my pick for banana split. I have to fucking withdraw my prior entry and fucking. Mm-hmm. He gets the machete in the back that comes up through the front, which is great. Jason picks him up and he throws him on the back of that fucking truck, and he's impaled on that thing and he's driven off. So, for the first time ever, I'm changing a pick mid-show.
Oh, brother!
I forgot about Trent. That was a great fucking kill, man.
Yeah, no, that's very cool.
Especially that it happened to him.
I just like the sleeping bag thing because it showed how, his thought process of trying to trick people and entrap them and stuff like that. And I guess that's why I appreciated that one.
Yeah, that was cool. There was a bunch in this movie. There was there was good stuff going on, but there was bad stuff too. But more good than bad, especially for modern American horror and for a slasher.
True.
They're not easy to make anymore.
Absolutely. I think this is one. I mean, I don't dislike remakes at all, and I think this is a pretty decent one. So, with that, rating it, I would have to say that I would give this a 3. I like it. It's not over. I mean, it's got some crazy enjoyable elements. It's got some stuff that I wouldn't necessarily brings it down, but it doesn't. It satisfies the urge to watch a Friday movie, I think.
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm. And it's not a disappointment. It's not an overall disappointment. There's enough there to keep you enthralled with it. You know what I mean? There's stuff that's not good, absolutely, but it's satisfying. As far as a Friday movie.
Yeah, well, I think it's the best Friday the 13th related thing to come out in a long, long time. There's good and bad, but to me, there's more good than bad by far. And I'll go 3.5 as my rating.
Yep, cool.
Yeah, it's fun. Good movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.